Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. I am in the kitchen again. It seems like I am doing a lot of cooking videos, and I was getting supper ready tonight, and I said, Stumpy, should I do a video? He said, of course you should do a video of what you're cooking. And I said, okay, well, I'll do a video. And so tonight we had thrown around homemade meatloaf and chili. I mean, that really didn't sound any good. Meatloaf didn't sound good to me. We've had it recently. So Mother said, why don't you make some beef stroganoff? And so I said, well, that sounds divine. And so I looked, and I had everything that I needed to make it. But it's going to be venison, actually venison stroganoff, because I'm using, you remember these? These were from our, this is our deer burger that we put up from the deer that we killed. So I've got 2 packs of these that I'm going to use and make it. So I'm going to do it more like ground beef stroganoff rather than the beef tip stroganoff. And the recipe that I'm following calls for your beef tenderloin. I'm not using that. I'm going to use my hamburger meat. But I'm going to cook it similar to what the recipe does, what it says do. And so it calls for your beef, of course. In this case, I'm going to use my venison. I've got onion. It calls for minced garlic. It calls for some mushrooms, some Dijon mustard, some sour cream, some heavy cream. I still had some beef broth that we'd put up. So I have that, and some paprika and some parsley. So I had everything to put it together. So we're going to get it together, and I'm going to show you how I do it. And it said you could use egg noodles or you could do mashed potatoes. I'm wanting mashed potatoes. Mother wants noodles. I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure it out. We've got both, so we could do it. So we're going to get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brown my hamburger meat and brown my venison meat and get it brown and drained, and then we'll show you the next step. So let's get over here and get started. Okay, I'm going to get my olive oil heated up, get it warm, and get my meat ready to go in. These packs of hamburger meat, Stumpy said, were about a pound and a half. So I am cooking extra for the recipe. I'm doing a lot of cooking videos now because there's not a whole lot going on out in the garden right now, and not a whole lot of projects going on because it's been so cold, and you know, the wintertime is a downtime. So I thought, well, I'll just add some cooking videos of what I do. This is our journey, part of our journey that we wanted to share, and for our kids to have in the future. So while this is getting warm and getting heated up, we're going to brown it, okay? The original recipe talked about with your beef tips, if you had sirloin beef tips that you were using, you would use in the olive oil, you would sear them, and then you would take them out. Here I'm going to brown the hamburger meat, and I'm going to take it out of this pan, drain the fat off of it, but I want to keep all the goodness that's going to be on the bottom, and that's where I'm going to put my onions in there, saute them with some olive oil and butter. I'll add some more olive oil and the butter there, and then I'll add my mushrooms and my minced garlic. Most people don't like venison or deer meat because, especially for hamburgers, because it can be dry. Stumpy has always had a perfect ratio of fat to venison that he makes our hamburger meat with. I'm telling you, it's been a blessing to have someone that knows about that stuff in our family, and he offers so much as far as providing us with the right meats, the best cuts, how, you know, what works best with this. You know, 30 years of being a butcher has lended him all that knowledge. And so when he processes our pigs and he processes our deer, he knows how much fat if we're going to do sausage or hamburger that he puts in here. So our venison burger that we use is very pretty, and you look at it. You can see the fat in it, and I mean, it's just lovely. It won't have as much fat in it as regular store-bought hamburger meat will, but it will have some degree of fat. I'll show you that whenever we get it done. But I don't know anything other than deer meat, because that's what my family grew up on. My dad was a very, very avid deer hunter. He would keep us stocked in deer. I can remember days of, when he would, go skin his deer and debone it, and he'd come in with lugs of meat, and we'd spend the day on the kitchen table grinding deer meat and putting up our own deer meat. And then, of course, I met Stumpy, and he did that for my dad until my dad passed away. But I've always been raised on deer meat. So for me, the store-bought hamburger meat you buy is just there's not much flavor in it. Some people say too, ooh, how can you eat deer meat? That's disgusting. I've never had any deer meat that tasted good. It always tastes wild or gamey. Well, one thing that I've learned with Stumpy is the way that he processes the deer. He's always cut this back when he kill a deer, put it in the cooler, quarter it up, and he'll put it in the cooler, and he'll let it sit on ice. But that's not the most important part. The most important part comes when he's in the meat room and he's breaking down the meat to process. He cuts all that silver skin, that meniscus skin off of the meat, and he doesn't include it in his meat. So for tenderized steak that we cook, or hamburger meat that we cook, it doesn't taste gamey at all. We've had people say, you better not ever fool me. I will never. I can tell if it's venison. And they come and they eat and they go, and I say, that was venison. And they're like, no way, no way, no way. But it's the way that he processes it. He's very, is it meticulous? Yes. About getting that meniscus skin off the meat. And that takes away a lot of the gaminess. And also, plus he uses a ribeye fat as well. Goes into the meat for fat. I want to say it's probably 80-20 is his ratio. I could be wrong. But you can see in here, there's very, very little fat coming out as compared to a, less lean meat that you get out of the store. So I'm going to let this brown, and I will take it out. Normally, if I want to get a thick sauce like on my beef stew, I'll brown it, drain it, but then I'll sprinkle flour over it, and I'll make my stew gravy that way. This particular recipe doesn't call for it, so I was interested in seeing how it did this way, and if it's going to make up a beautiful stroganoff. Denise and Eric are in Nebraska still, and they should be coming back tomorrow. I can't wait. I texted her today, or actually video chatted her, and she was having the time of her life with her grandbaby, who just turned 2. And maybe one day we'll be able to share Miss Anna with you one day on video. We sure would love to. We sure love sharing them grandbabies with y'all. So, well, one of my last videos, y'all saw me cooking with Beckett. That boy loves to help me in the kitchen. He loves to help anywhere. On the farm, outside, in the garden, in here, in the kitchen, folding, anywhere he wants to help. He wants to help. He loves to help. Okay, my hamburger meat is brown. My deer burger is brown. I'm going to take it. I got a bowl and sink and my strainer. I'm going to strain the fat off. And then I'll be right back with you. Okay, now I'm going to add my butter. Get my butter in here. You can see I still have some hamburger meat and some 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to let that blend together. Okay, got that in there. My butter's just about melted. I'm going to go ahead and add my onions. Saute them a little bit. Scraping that bottom. Onions sauteed they smell so good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. The recipe called for 2 cloves of garlic. I like garlic. So, and because this is going to be more like a doubled recipe. Because you know I cook for an army. I cooled down quite a bit. So, like I told y'all the other day, I do not measure anything. Okay, so those onions and garlic, they've been cooking for a couple of minutes. They're almost translucent there. They're tender. I'll add my mushrooms. This is probably not near enough, but this is all I had, so I'll use what I've got. My mama is German, so she loves beef stroganoff. I wonder if it's something, and cream beef on toast. Oh my gosh, if you make cream beef on toast, she goes crazy. Okay, at this point is where I'm going to add. Now the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, but because I'm cooking a double recipe, I'm going to add 2. I'm just going to eyeball it. It calls for ½ a cup of beef broth, and this is our beef broth that we put up, so I'll be adding a cup of it. So, and it's very rich, you can see. So I'm going to add that. A little bit more, just for, you know. Okay, so we got our beef broth and our Dijon mustard going in here. Next, I'm going to add my Worcestershire, which is, it just says 1 teaspoon. I'll add a couple. And I'm really only using the teaspoon because y'all were watching. So I got my Dijon mustard. I've got my beef broth, my Worcestershire, my onions, my mushrooms, my garlic. And I'm going to let this come up. Boy, that smells good. That Worcestershire in there. I'm also going to go ahead and add some smoked paprika. Now the recipe calls for ½ a teaspoon. I'll add that there, and then I get my salt and pepper. Add my salt and pepper. I'm adding some pepper now. And that smells so good. So I'm going to bring it up. I want it to come up to a little simmer here. And then I'm going to slowly add my heavy cream to it. I think that's everything except for the parsley. And that parsley is going to go in last. But it smells good. And once I add the heavy cream, then I'm going to bring the hamburger meat back and stir it in there with it. And I'll just let it simmer for a little while. And just soak up all the yummy goodness. Save this bone broth, or beef broth. I can't forget my sour cream either. It calls for ½ a cup of heavy cream. And I didn't even write down the sour cream how much. I guess I better look and see how much it calls for. I'm supposed to bring this up to a simmer, so it's going to start simmering here in just a minute. And in just a minute, I'm going to add my heavy cream and my sour cream. The recipe calls for ½ a cup of each. I'm going to be adding a cup. and let it simmer. Bring it down, let it simmer. Then I'll add my meat. Okay. So here is where I'm going to add my cream. I'm going to do a cup of heavy cream. And I've turned my heat down. I do not want it to be on high because you will scorch that cream like crazy. And I'm going to do a cup of sour cream. Gotta get it dipped out. I don't have it ready. So here comes in the sour cream. Some of the other recipes that I looked at had you use a brown gravy mix. I didn't want to do that. I kind of wanted it to be as much from scratch as possible. That's just how I've been leaning towards my cooking lately. So look how creamy that's getting. You work your sour cream in. I'll let it heat up here. Get the sour cream in there. And then I'll add the meat. I'm also making sure that I'm scraping all of where that venison cooked. All those little shavings on the bottom. I want to make sure that they're up and in with the soup or the gravy. Okay, that smells good. Now I'm going to get my hamburger meat and add it to it. And I said hamburger meat. Venison! It's venison. I'm going to show you. I want to show you how much fat off of those. It's probably 3 pounds of hamburger or venison burger that I had. I got off of it. Okay, in with the hamburger meat. Okay, I'm going to stir that up in there. It almost looks like cream beef, doesn't it? I want to taste it. It's flavor. Ooh, man, that tastes good. I'll tell you what I might add though. A little bit more Worcestershire. Some more salt. Maybe a little bit more Dijon mustard. Can't hurt, can it? Let's stir that up in there and see what that does. I'm looking for the twang that Stroganoff usually has. Look how creamy that looks. That looks good, doesn't it? Look at that. Oh, that looks good. And it's going to thicken as it sits here. Clean up my mess. Oh, I was going to show you. That's all the fat I got off of the venison meat. That's it. That's all I got. Save that. You know who will enjoy that? The pigs. They will enjoy it. So I'll go ahead and add my parsley flakes to it. The recipe calls for a tablespoon. I'm just going to do that, and I'll stir that up in there. Put the lid on. We're going to let it simmer. Meanwhile, I'll get my pasta ready and whatever side I'm going to cook with it. And we're going to serve it with some of our good old sourdough bread too. So that ought to be good. Okay, for those of you wondering, what you think, Nanny?
It's good.
Is it good?
It is good.
It ain't good.
This is how we're eating here. Got me. Meemaw's done finished her plate. Look right here.
Oh yeah, another great meal from our happy homemaker.
Happy homemaker. Stumpy got him seconds. Look at there, Stumpy. Is it really good?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Does it taste like stroganoff?
I don't know what it tastes like, but it's good.
It don't taste like stroganoff, but it's good.
Oh, so the expert here says it doesn't taste like stroganoff.
It's got a good taste, but it don't taste like stroganoff.
Well, I put everything in it that it called for. Sour cream.
Well, if we're eating it with cream potatoes, it changes the taste, but it's delicious.
I guess you heard that. We eat it with creamed potatoes, and it changes the taste.
It's delicious.
I love it with potatoes.
So, I'm gonna go eat my plate. Okay, look who happened to come over to Nana's house.
Not me.
Beckett.
I realized that
You are police officer Beckett. There you go. And look what he had to get. He wanted some supper. How does the beef stroganoff taste, Beckett? Good? Is it good? That's right.
delicious.
It's delicious. Yummy to my tummy. And got him some good raw milk going there. Some sourdough bread, some peas. Yummy, yummy. Yummy, yummy. He said, Mama, can I take this for lunch tomorrow? So he's going to take some for lunch tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, a simple life is a much more enjoyable life. We will see you on the next video. God bless you.